the best a man can get.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to First Things First. I'm Jen Wolf. That's the Hall of Famer, Chris Carter. This is Nick Wright. This looks like circus time here.
Yeah, because you didn't do one of your you have one pre-show task, Jenna. Jenna, this morning you're like, who has my notes? Who has my coffee? Your only pre-show task is to cut your own straws.
Toronto
you couldn't
Raptors
do it this morning.
They got to make smaller
win game
straws.
number 3.
Oh,
Steph Curry
there you are.
47.
We got a big show for you today. If you stayed up and watched, fantastic. If you didn't, we're going to tell you all about it. Game 3 of the NBA Finals. Klay Thompson was a game-time decision, and the decision was no-go. That meant the brunt of the work fell on the shoulders of one Steph Curry, and he delivered 47 points in this one. But those 47, as impressive as they were, weren't enough, as Toronto wins at 123-109. Kawhi Leonard led the way for Toronto with 30 points, and he got help. Every starter for the Raptors scored at least 17 points in this one, as Toronto takes a 2-1 series lead. Here is Kyle Lowry after the game.
You lose an all-NBA type basketball player in Klay and an all-star. It definitely, it changes their team. But, I mean, Steph had an unbelievable game. 47 points is pretty impressive. But, we just went out there and did our job.
We're going to compete no matter what happens. You can count on that. So just got to execute and play smarter. And no matter who's out there on the floor, do what you got to do to win.
No one cares that guys are hurt. Everybody wants to see us lose. So I'm sure people are happy they're hurt. We just got to continue to battle and win the next game, go back to Toronto, win Game 5, come back to Oracle, win Game 6, and then celebrate. Fun times ahead.
He's got it all worked out for himself. Mapped out the rest of the series. Looks like it's going to play out in the Warriors' favor, according to Draymond Green. Nick, let me ask you, was Game 3 more about what the Raptors did well, or Steph having virtually no help?
Steph was sensational, and his other teammates couldn't pick up the slack. And we'll get more to Steph later, but I want to focus on the Raptors. You mentioned it. All 5 starters with 17-plus points. Everyone that played for the Raptors shot at least 50% from the field. Think about that. There only 7 guys took shots. All of them shot 50% or better. We spent a long time yesterday talking about in relation to Kawhi Leonard.
We were trying to find someone.
Right.
Don't shoot above 50%.
Right. We talked about how hard it is over the course of a finals for a guy to shoot even close to 50, that you would take the mid-40s. The story of last night's game was the Raptors, everyone showed up. Everyone did their job. They won every single quarter, and multiple times Oracle was roaring as if the Warriors had the lead because they had cut it to single digits. And there were 4 separate occasions in that second half where the Warriors cut it to 7 and were a possession away from being a possession away. And every time the Toronto Raptors responded with a mini flurry of their own to keep the Warriors just out of arm's reach, because Toronto knew and Golden State knew and that crowd knew what we were discussing before the show. Toronto couldn't win the series last night, but they could have lost it.
Yes.
If Toronto had lost that game with no Klay, no KD, no Looney, Boogie being as limited as he was, then the Warriors are minus 500 favorites this morning. They feel great about where they are. And so Toronto, if it would have gotten to 4, I think you would have seen some nerves. You would have seen some, oh, wait, are we going to blow this? Because they had been in control the whole game. They kept them just out of arm's reach, and Kawhi was the best Raptor, but every other Raptor did their job and did it the best they've done this series.
But I'll ask you, CC, the same thing I asked Nick. Was that about how well the Raptors were playing, or was it because the Warriors didn't really have anyone to defend them?
Well, let's go back to game number 2. Why did the Raptors lose that game? Not only that third quarter where they couldn't score, couldn't make a bucket at the beginning of that third quarter, they couldn't make open shots. I told you guys yesterday, if the Raptors get the same shots that they got in game number 1, which they won, game number 2, shots they didn't make, I said that they would be happy the rest of the series. Those are open shots. NBA players are going to make those shots, and that's what Toronto did. So for me, it's about them being able to make the shots. I didn't think Golden State was going to be able to win this game without Klay. They had a sensational effort led by Steph Curry. I mean, a record-breaking performance there. The effort was there, but when you can't score the basketball in the NBA playoffs against a quality team, which they're playing in Toronto, they ran out of people. And last night, you could see it. They were challenged outside of Steph Curry to be able to find someone to be able to score the basketball.
So we mentioned Klay Thompson actually did not play last night. They're going to wait and see what he can do in Game 4. What did they miss more from Klay last night? Was it his offense or his defense?
Going into the game, I would have said they're going to miss his offense more than anything else. Going into the game, the reason that I said I will bet the Raptors that the Warriors cannot win without Klay is because I didn't think they'd be able to score enough. They scored 109 points in Game 1. They scored 109 points in Game 2. They scored 109 points last night. To me, where they truly missed Klay because Steph carried such a load on offense, yeah, they would have liked Klay shooting. 6 of 22 from 3 for non-Steph Warriors. But Klay's defense was desperately missed. Klay had guarded Kawhi in Game 2, which allowed Draymond to play more help side defense. Now, Draymond's got to guard Kawhi. Now, you don't have people meeting Ibaka or Gasol or Siakam at the rim. The trickle-down effect of not having Klay's defense out there, which, by the way, had Klay forced his way into the lineup, he might have been able to hit shots. He wouldn't have had that impact defensively. He wouldn't have been able to move defensively. But when you see the Warriors scored 109, that's almost always enough for them to win a playoff game. It's the allowing 123. So I think they actually, oddly enough, missed his defense more than anything last night.
I'm going to go on the offensive side because we saw the other players struggle. We saw them continuing to be left alone. Draymond Green early in the game, first shot he took, they dared him to take it from the three-point line. Shot an air ball. So for me, I believe on the offensive end, because Draymond doesn't take that shot, he resets the offense, allows himself to get a better shot. Iguodala, he struggled. He made a couple shots, but he still struggled. He has no intermediate game. So on the offensive end, when they tried to clamp down on Steph, but when Steph got gassed, and there were a couple times that they could use someone else to either bring the ball up half court and someone to be able to knock down a shot. To me, Klay is a spectacular player on the offensive end. Last night, you could see how much they missed him, the lack of spacing, and just the lack of offensive confidence that the rest of the Warriors are that they don't have.
And from a scoring standpoint, to your point, C, the person who scored the most points last night's game, obviously Steph Curry. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Raptor. They had the next 5 leading scorers in the game. Team effort led by Kawhi on that side, and it squandered one of the greatest Steph Curry games I've ever seen.
47 points out of Steph Curry. Not enough, though, as the Warriors lose to Toronto. Raptors up now 2-1 in the series. Coming up, what did last night teach us about LeBron James? That's next on FS1, and you can always check us out on the Fox Sports channel on SiriusXM. We will be right back.